it was the Raiders. I might be crazy for that, but I really think it was the Raiders. I'm a Baker Mayfield.
We should go to the Baker Mayfield enthusiast over the phone.
I need to go to the Baker Mayfield convention.
Frank, you...
What's going on? I love Baker.
I love Baker. That's all we needed. Frank, do you remember who that game... what that game that Baker played as a Ram against, where he got made fun of by...
24 hours? Oh, the Patrick Star...
The Patrick Star clip, yeah.
Oh, God.
It was the Raiders.
It was the Raiders. Wow.
I'm that guy. That should be a trivia question one day. Who did Baker Mayfield just go out and prove that he's that guy against?
You know, Justin, I haven't even shown you. We have a wheel now.
We have a wheel?
We have a wheel.
Like a physical wheel?
Like a prize wheel.
Like a physical wheel?
Yeah, it's here. It's in the back.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know. It's amazing. All right, shall we get off the boat talk?
Yeah. What are we doing?
You know, I
before
think
we get, we want to talk about the Steelers' new quarterback.
Sure, we can do that. We can
just
lead in
named
with
the
that.
starter.
Oh, wait.
Yep.
Wait, who did they do?
Oh, you guys don't know?
Bro,
take a guess. For anyone who actually does not know, if you know who the starter is, don't say. If you don't know who the starter is, take a guess.
Let me give my 2 cents. I think if the Steelers want to uphold Mike Tomlin's defeated whatever non-losing season record, I think you start Russell Wilson. I think if you want to give your team a chance to actually go out there and do something, and maybe if he doesn't do anything, you actually give your team a chance to take a high-end first-round pick, you go with Justin Fields. So I think if Mike Tomlin has any sort of brain cell in his nog, I'm going with Justin Fields.
All right, 1 vote for Fields.
Chris?
I'm going to just stick with the veteran here and go Russ. I mean, I guess you could say Justin Fields was like a top prospect, but he didn't show anything in Chicago. Yeah, he didn't have any weapons, but I mean... What? Okay, let me finish my sentence here, Frank.
No.
But I still think Mike Tomlin is just going to go with Russ just because of the experience he has, just because of his resume, his Super Bowl. He's got a Super Bowl. I mean, that's just me speaking. I think he's going to pick the veteran and go Russ.
All right, so it's 1-1 at the moment in time. I guess before we go to Joey here, Frank, you had something to say. I'm assuming you're going to go with Justin Fields.
Oh, I mean, I already know the answer.
Oh, okay.
Oh, then no.
No.
All right.
Joey Cheese.
I'm going to say he was unhappy with both of them and re-signed Kenny Pickett.
Oh, so 1-1-1.
Nah, let's go Duck Hodges.
Oh, jeez.
Went for the independent.
The Duck. All right, who is it?
Dan, do you know?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
so we are 1-1-1. We don't have a tiebreaker. I thought Joey was going to be the tiebreaker, but he went outside the box. It is indeed. Drumroll, please. Mr. Let's Ride.
No! Gosh, Mr. Unlimited. No, that guy sucks. Gosh, Mike Tomlin just can't have a not losing season. They're not going to go anywhere. Gosh, dumb decision.
Pittsburgh Steelers sign Justin Bachman right now as coach.
Give me the job, Mike.
You're gonna start yelling at Arthur Smith. You don't know how to work with QBs. Give them to me.
I love
you don't know how to do anything. Najee Harris is about to be a 2,000-yard rusher because Mr. Unlimited is garbage.
No, you mean Cordero Patterson.
Word 2.
No, I think it's a fine decision to go Russell. I think it's fine. I mean, you really have 2 guys who you're not paying that much anyway. Why not have the guy who has the experience, who actually shows up sometimes more than Justin Fields? Because what I've noticed with Justin Fields is that he shows up in the second half. So if Tomlin's playing this right, Russell always shows up in the first half, Mr. like MVP caliber type guy.
Mr. Unlimited.
And then halfway through, right as you get to the bye week, you go, all right, Justin, get in there.
Yeah, I don't.
But what if Russ cooks? Remember, Dan.
Russ
remember
doesn't
that-
cook. He burns.
That brother.
He welds now.
He
brother,
welds?
He welds.
That brother Russ couldn't cook.
Dude, remember, it went from letting him pour the milk in the bowl. He's kind of cooking up a little bit of wagyu over there in Denver. I mean, obviously it didn't last very long, but what are we forgetting?
That guy Russ couldn't cook if I put him next to Betty Crocker. All right, let's keep.
I don't even think if Gordon Ramsay was next to him, he would be able to cook anything right.
I want to have faith in him. I really do. I mean, we're talking about a guy who went to 2 Super Bowls in his first 5 years in the league. We're talking about the same guy who looked at the greatest offense of all time and said, well, I mean, I guess he didn't say it. The Legion of Boom said it, but he told him to shut up, and then he scored 48 points on the second best defense in the NFL that season. I get it. But does Russell Wilson make the Steelers better? No. Does Justin Fields make the Steelers better?
No.
No. So you, in my opinion, right now, have to take the risk. You got to take the gamble to actually give your team a chance to draft somebody. The Steelers have been picking at like probably 15 or 16 every year since 2011. When are we going to figure it out, Mike? When are you going to make it past 10 wins again? I mean, the last time you went past 10 wins, you started off 11-1, and then you lost the final 5 games of the season, went into the playoffs 11-6, and then got first rounded by Cleveland. You got first rounded by Baker Mayfield. No offense. I love that guy. But I said no offense. Relax yourself.
I mean, I will say that if you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, to bounce off you, Justin, if you look at their draft history, the last pick in the top 10 was actually a guy they traded up for in Devin Bush. But before that, let's say they didn't trade up and stayed where they were, which was, of course, later in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Their last top 10 pick was in 2000, number 8, for Plaxico Burris.
Plaxico
Burris.
Brother,
Plaxico
that guy,
Burris,
that
wide
guy
receiver
ended-
out of Michigan State.
Hey, that guy ended the Patriots' undefeated season. Everybody thinks it was David Tyree. No, that guy Plaxico Burris in the back corner of the end zone ended the Patriots' undefeated season. No disrespect.
But I mean, even, let's say you go past him, 1989, number 7,
Wow.
Tim Worley, running back out of Georgia. They don't pick early. They just don't.
I'm confused. Like, I wish we had like a hardcore Steelers fan, because I need to know, and like from a
We do.
Steelers fan perspective. Oh, do we?
Who is the hardcore Steelers
let's hear
fan?
Dan.
Yeah, let's run, baby!
Oh, all right. So never mind.
I like Heinz.
I wish we.
I don't know. I feel like that's what the
I
thing.
love ketchup.
I
And
love ketchup.
I wish we had a hardcore Steelers fan, so that way we can genuinely ask, are you okay with just winning 9 games every year? Because, like, at what point do you actually want to, like, I don't know, make the playoffs? Actually compete in the playoffs? At what point do you hit that, like, is Mike Tomlin actually that guy? Is he that guy?
Really, it's not.
I don't know.
I don't think it's Mike Tomlin if he's that guy. I think it's T.J. Watt is that guy, and that's the only reason he still has a job.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, if you
TJ
look at
Watt
the,
is that guy.
I love seeing the stat of Mike Tomlin with T.J. Watt, or, you know, Pittsburgh Steelers with T.J. Watt and without T.J. Watt, and the records are two flip-flops. I mean, you either have a complete winning record, which is amazing, or you have Carolina, New England winning record of the past, like, 2 years.
Carolina was crazy.
I mean, it's just that bad. And it's just, you know, they're relying off one guy. And I get it. Yeah, it's a team sport. But when it's that, like, influential that one guy is making or breaking your season
I wouldn't say
sometimes.
they've been relying off one guy like Alex Highsmith.
Yeah, no,
Cam
I mean,
Hayward.
they've always been built on a great defense.
Like, they've always had a very good front seven.
They have, but I feel like the only reason I think T.J. Watt gets as much praise as he does, I mean, he takes another offensive lineman away. I think you would double up TJ Watt. If
At
you
least
don't,
two.
you're stupid.
At least 2.
And that opens up Cameron Hayward or another linebacker coming down or safety. I mean, you have Minka Fitzpatrick. I just think that you play different. You play the Steelers 10 times different with TJ Watt and without. I mean, I think it's 2 completely different game plans.
Well, of course. I mean, because he is a game destroying
Yeah.
talent, and that's why like everybody's going to be looking at the Rams differently this season because now they don't have to waste 2 offensive linemen on 1 defensive tackle. I mean, like it's to a point where I mean, realistically, the back half, like from 2010 to now, the Steelers have been nothing.
Yep.
I mean, they went to the Super Bowl in 2011, so I guess I can't say
The
nothing.
Killer Bees for a while. They were really
Yeah.
good. They might have been the 2nd or 3rd best AFC team for a few years stretch.
But they didn't go. They haven't been to a Super Bowl in 13 years. The last time they went to the Super Bowl, they lost to Aaron Rodgers in his 1 Super Bowl victory at the moment. So now, I mean, you got 13
At the moment.
years.
At the moment, he's
Hey, listen. Yeah, I gotta respect my boy Spike. Give the Jets a chance.
I am the Jets.
But at the moment, Mike Tomlin has been holding on to his job because in 17 seasons he's never had a losing season. Big Ben's 1 Super Bowl victory is without Mike Tomlin. I feel like people don't talk about that. The 1 Super Bowl that Big Ben has, 2 Super Bowls. You're right, 2 Super Bowls.
It's 1-1.
Is it 1-1? Did Mike Tomlin get one?
Yeah.
What year was that? Was that the
07.
7? That was his 2nd year.
Because he won.
His
No,
first
he-
year as head coach.
Yeah, he won early on.
So,
I'll look it up, but I know it's 1-1.
is it 1-1? Because I know they won Big Ben's 2nd year,
Yeah.
and then his 4th or 5th. Because Hines Ward has 2, and he retired in 07-08. So it has to be somewhere around
No
there.
problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
But either way, like, you wasted the back half of Big Ben's career. And I know that might be a strong statement, but if your coach can't coach you anywhere past the teetering point of 500 in the regular season, and you haven't been back to they haven't been back to an AFC championship game since 2011. The closest they got was when they got throttled by the Jags at
2009.
home. 2009 was the 2nd Super Bowl?
Yeah, when they beat Arizona.
All right, so Mike Tomlin does have 1.
Yeah, because that's remember the Madden cover the year after.
Yep.
Palomalu and
Palomalu and Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald had that insane game.
That insane
Well, that-
game. Unbelievable game.
Went to nothing, sadly.
I just don't understand how you can be thrilled for a season as a Pittsburgh fan anymore. Because, like, you know you're going to win games. Congratulations, but you ain't going to do anything with any of your wins.
So you're saying too much defense, no offense throughout this latter part of his coaching career.
Well, I don't even know if it's that. I just don't think he can coach in the postseason. I don't think Mike Tomlin can coach a winning organization. I truly don't think he can. Because if he could, the Steelers might have another AFC Championship game appearance.
I think
And
also.
you can't say that he didn't have the talent around him for that. He had 2 of the best offensive players in the 2010s. He had Big Ben, who was arguably a top 10 quarterback. So many winning records, and yet nothing to show for it.
Well, yeah, he had Antonio Brown when he was sane.
I don't think it's a hot take to say that Mike Tomlin is very overrated as a head coach.
No,
Well, I mean, it depends. What is your definition of overrated?
A coach that can take your team to, I would say, success consistently is a good coach. And I don't know if a winning season every year, but making the playoffs a quarter of them is successful.
Well,
I mean, in a sense, I mean, it's what is your definement of successful, right? Like, if you're there every year and you're kind of giving yourself a shot at it, I'd say that's successful.
Shot at the wild card every year?
from a longevity standpoint, I'd say it's successful but underwhelming. Like, from an instance, we can look at the Buffalo Bills. All right, the Buffalo Bills have arguably been the second best team in the National Football League over the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
From a win standpoint, they've been the second best team. It's been successful, but underwhelming. It's the same thing you can say about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Mike Tomlin in a sense, but over a longer period of time.
You're right.
They've been one of the more successful, long-standing, competitive teams in the league, but when it comes to winning the playoff game, multiple playoff games, getting back to what they were doing in the late 2000s, early 2010s, yeah, from that standpoint, it's underwhelming, but, like, from a fan base accordingly, an owner's perspective, getting fans in seats, overall, I mean,
That is
going over
true.
500 every year and making the playoffs every couple of years, I'd say that's fairly successful compared to other regimes.
That is true, but I mean, for a while the Steelers were the best team in the AFC, and they didn't do anything with it. With the Killer Bees,
Well, I mean,
the 3 years, the 3 like good years of the Killer Bees, the Steelers were the favorable team in the AFC.
Well, I mean, the same thing you said every year. For, again, a Buffalo Bills point. The Buffalo Bills arguably...
I don't know if there's a year momentarily that they've been the favorite in the AFC. I think the Chiefs have had that on lockdown for the past 5 years.
You can say the Bills were the favorite a couple times going into the playoffs, but
Yeah.
Mahomes outbested them. You can say that the Steelers were the favorite going in, but Brady and Belichick outbested them.
I don't even know how many playoff games Roethlisberger lost to Brady, or the Steelers lost to the
divisional
Patriots.
round in 16, I want to say. Maybe 17 it was.
No, 17 they lost to the Jags.
Then it was 16. Might have been 18, actually. That was their last run at it, I believe. Remember that? Trying to remember who caught the ball. Tight end, Jesse James might have been.
Yep, Jesse James.
Bounced. They called it no touchdown.
Yep.
Then they threw like a pick right after.
Mm-hmm.
That was their last run at it.
That was their last run at it. But they had, like, I mean, 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, they realistically should have beat the Jags. You put up 42 points on a team and you still lost. The final score of that game was 45-42.
Yeah.
And we didn't even win on a field goal. We won on a last-second touchdown. And that moment replays in my head rent-free. But, I don't know. I mean, you can be excited if you want as a Steelers fan. I would rather lose games and get better than keep winning games and stay at the same pace. That's just me.
Roethlisberger and Brady only faced off twice in the playoffs, just as a point.
So I wonder who they were losing to. I mean,
did Blake Bortles 1 year?
Yeah,
I mean,
Blake
even though
Bortles
we
1
did
year.
lose to Blake Bortles that year too.
Blake
Which is
Bortles 1 year.
crazy.
And then 2015 they beat the Bengals.
They lost to what? The Chiefs. They lost to.
They lost to Alex Smith. I think I said.
No, they lost to Mahomes.
In 2015.
No, it was later. It was like 2019.
Yeah, it was
2020.
close. There was a close game at halftime. I remember
Yeah.
that game.
Did they? Was it? I think the big Baker playoff game when he was with the Browns. He beat the Steelers.
That was Baker's rookie year.
I think that was Baker versus Ben.
That was 2018.
Okay, that was 2018.
Or no, that was 2019.
Okay, we're trying to set up a timeline.
COVID year was the year that the Steelers went on that 11-0 streak, and then they lost the final 6 games of the season.
Right. Yeah, I mean.
So they lost to Mahomes that year.
Right.
But 2015, they beat the Bengals in the wild card. I don't know who they lost to that year. 2015, it might have been the Broncos. It might have been the Broncos. Because that was when the Broncos went to the Super Bowl. So it could have been the Broncos. Either way, we're rambling at this point.
We're just trying to make Steelers fans kind of feel better but worse at the same time.
You are heard, Steelers Nation.
You're right. Yeah,
And-
it's like you're there.
And go ahead and have fun welding with Mr.
No.
Unlimited.
Why are we being nice to Steelers fans? Screw Steelers fans.
Why screw Steelers fans, Frank? Huh? Why are you on that side, huh?
They do all this talking online. They do all this talking in real life.
They do a lot of talking.
They are
For
Chads.
what? For what?
To go 500. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The Buccaneers gave their homeboy, their Antonio Brown, their precious little all-star, a World Series ring. Not World Series, Super Bowl ring.
It's true.
To be fair,
Right,
Frank,
they didn't do that.
the Buccaneers are the equivalent to the Steelers of the NFC to the AFC.
You know,
All right.
All right.
it's not a hot take.
It's pretty valid.
That might be pretty valid. I don't know. I might go. I might say the Cowboys.
You
The
guys are
Steelers.
9 and 8 every year, man.
I might say the
That was
Cowboys.
before Brady. What are you talking about?
Oh, 1 year wonder.
9 and 8, man.
COVID year doesn't count.
You guys
Fake
are.
chip, fake chip, fake chip.
I could bet that the Steelers and Bucks will finish with the same record, 9 and 8.
Nah,
I'll take it.
I love the Buccaneers.
I like how you say
That is
take it.
literally a Steelers fan modern day.
I'll take that.
I'll be contempt.
I'll be happy for a bit.
Well, everyone, no one believes in us again for some reason. So, listen, if we get a winning record,
Because nobody thinks Baker Mayfield is that guy. I think Baker Mayfield's that guy. I love
for
him.
some reason. But, it's whatever. Finishes top 10 in multiple quarterback stats, but, he's not him, so whatever.
So does Russell Wilson.
I'm good.
Russell Wilson does not finish in top 10 stats.
Oh,
brother.
Some of them.
Russell, well, yeah, all right, but interceptions maybe.
He did in my
might be up
standard
there.
Football League last year. Fantasy Football League.
Oh my
He came
God.
top 10.
I hate that guy. I hate Mr. Unlimited. He's so bummed. He's so good at being so bad.
Let's make a bet. Steelers and the Bucks are going to finish with the same record. 9 and 8.
I take that the Buccaneers will have a better record.
Steelers and Bucks in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
I honestly think this is the first year that the Steelers actually go under 500. And I know people have been saying it for years now. The Steelers aren't going to win the game. Blah, 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 blah.
At some point,
The
it's got to
Steelers have
happen.
Mr. Unlimited and Mr. Can't play in the NFL at quarterback. Let's figure it out. There's no way, no shot, no how that the Steelers win 9 games. I can't see it. Can't do it.
All right.
Can't root for it.
Frank,
can't
now here
happen.
you go. Here's your Justin Fields bit.
Justin Fields is a starter in the NFL.
Yeah, so is Jarrett Stidham, apparently. You guys see that interview? Yeah, Jarrett Stidham, he loves himself. That guy looks in the mirror every day and says, I'm him. I'm that guy.
Nathan Peterman, #1 quarterback in the NFL.
Trey Lance and Nathan Peterman have one thing in common. 5 interceptions in a game.
That's crazy true. But, I mean, I can't wait for Trey Lance to take over for Dak Prescott next year when he doesn't get a contract.
Oh, yeah, I know. The Cowboys made their decision. How do we feel about that? The Cowboys picked.
Yeah.
They
They
had to pick
picked
one.
CD.
They picked CD.
They said CD's monies.
And Dakota, he's...
Yeah, thank God.
Thank you, Chris, for laughing. Thank you, Chris, for laughing for that bad joke.
Dakota Prescott is going to be no more in a Dallas Cowboys uniform. Unless he takes a pay slice.
Speaking of that, Jamar Chase showed up late to the Bengals practice in just regular street clothes, and he was 13 minutes late, no pads on, nothing. And Zach Taylor, the Bengals head coach, said he was going to be there today.
And they would be practicing all week.
Yeah, and mind you, this is a player that wants $40 million a year, $40 million, $160
Well, of course,
million
he wants
in total.
To be, he wants
but
to be
he
the
still
highest
has
paid.
2 years left on his initial rookie deal.
He wants to get paid. He wants to get paid before he may or may not get injured. Maybe he thinks a part of his body is giving out on him, and he wants money before it happens. I don't know. I don't understand. I mean, maybe I just don't have an inflated head. But if I was making even $1 million a year guaranteed, I'd be all right with it.
I'd
Sign
be
me
all
up.
right. I mean, and plus they still have Micah Parsons to sign in Dallas. I mean, and if you're thinking about the Bengals, you have to think about T. Higgins.
I want to know what the heck the Niners are doing.
With Ayuk?
Not even with Ayuk. Trent Williams?
Yeah, heard about that.
I mean, I think that if one of those two is expendable, it's Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, 100%.
Trent Williams is the only thing on that O-line that's keeping Brock Purdy on his feet.
It's the only thing keeping Brock Purdy.
Brock Purdy will get lit up on his blind side, because I don't know if you guys watch Brock Purdy tape, but that brother is not worried about anything coming up from behind him. He cannot feel pressure from his backside because Trent Williams has never let it happen. And now, if Trent Williams doesn't sign a contract, Brock Purdy's going to have to put his head on a swivel for the first time in his career. And I think the Niners are going to be looking a little bit more scarce if they don't re-sign a guy as impactful as Trent Williams.
Yeah, then they're going to have Brandon Ayuk playing the traditional acts, which is something he doesn't do.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that he's probably going to be the biggest story of the offseason, and nothing will ever happen with him, most likely.
No,
it's everything else around him.
He'll just resign.
Yep. So while we were talking, the Bills decided to release their practice squad signing. That means they signed 16 players in the sense of quarterback Mike White, running back Frank Gore Jr., 3 wide receivers in Deion Kane, KJ Hamler, and Tyrell Shavers, 1 tight end in Zach Davidson, 3 O-linemen, Richard Gorage, I get his name wrong. Will Clapp is back, everybody! Will Clapp! Mike Edwards, not the safety.
That one.
Not the safeties.
Not the safety. 2 defensive ends, Kingsley Johnson, Cameron Klein, 2 defensive tackles, Eli Anku, Branson Dean, 2 corners in Daquan Hardy, and Corey Couch. I'm shocked he's not on his couch right now. And safety Kareem Jackson.
I've heard of actually 2 of those people.
And then also, the Bills just signed Jalen Virgil, a wide receiver from Denver who was on their team last year, I'm pretty sure, and also has experience playing special teams. He hasn't been added to the 53-man roster yet, or the practice squad roster, but Brandon Beane did say they will add him probably to either or.
I remember there was a guy in Denver, I think it was a tight end, his last name was Virgil, maybe that was his first name. Was it Virgil Green?
Yeah.
I remember Virgil Green, yeah.
I thought you were talking about that guy. I don't know. I don't know who the hell you were talking about.
How many guys can you have on the practice squad?
I believe
16.
it's 16, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, now you got Mike White, because your quarterback room consists of Josh Allen,
and
the Subway employee, Mitchell Trubisky,
And the last...
the guy with the funniest name in the NFL, and Ben DiNucci.
He's not there no more.
Is he not?
No, he got cut.
Wow, unfortunate. Very
I know.
sad.
Ben DiNucci.
And
DiNucci.
and Kareem Jackson is 36, and they put him on a practice squad, you know?
Yeah, you tell him to get after it.
Better in depth.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing considering that 2 of your starting safeties are also
No
hurt.
Justin Shorter on the practice squad.
Yeah? Bad?
I like the wide receivers, though, that they kept. I really thought that Deion Kane showed out in the final game against the Panthers.
I agree.
Man, I mean, first of all, he looked like Sammy Watkins out there.
He did.
Like
He had the
Prime
14.
Sammy Watkins.
Yeah.
He had the ponytail. I was like, this guy's full on copying Sammy Watkins.
He looked. It just when I was watching, because I was at the game, I look at him like, that's Sammy Watkins. It just looked like Sammy Watkins. But it was pretty cool. Deion Kane, anytime he caught a screen pass or a pass behind the line of scrimmage, he made a guy miss right away, and he was just up the field down the sideline. Whether it was for like an 8-yard gain, a 10-yard gain, or a first down, move chains, he looked good. And then, I mean, Tyrell Shavers looked really good that first drive. And then we know KJ Hamler. We saw he could play that versatile slot back position, kind of like that Deebo Samuel role got filled in. Wouldn't mind seeing him play a few games this year. Obviously, knock on wood, if an injury does happen, I wouldn't mind seeing Hamler up here. And then, obviously, Jalen Virgil from Denver tests really well. An athletic receiver who has a little bit of potential. Not saying this could be a guy who's going to make your top 4, but he's a guy that can maybe make his way onto your 53-man roster at a point in time. If not, they do sign him there, but we'll see.
Do you guys think that the Lancaster kid is going to be able to replace Matt Milano?
Oh, no way.
Two different positions.
Is he not a linebacker?
Milano's an outside linebacker. This kid's inside.
Yeah.
He's a middle linebacker. Joe Andreessen is a more prototypical middle linebacker. Downhill, rally to the football, play within your A and B gaps. That's the player that he is. Now, Milano does that, but Milano's also sideline to sideline. One of the best cover guys in the league when healthy.
Andreessen's also not that great in coverage.
No, Andreessen, you can see, like, any linebacker or any player on a defensive side of the football will have their moments in coverage, and you're like, oh, this guy can do it. But
how big of a hole is Matt Milano? How many games? How many games does missing Matt Milano truly?
Milano missed 4 last year, and the Bills still won the division. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't think it matters as much. I mean, at least you still have Bernard. I think if you didn't have Bernard and we had to go back to A.J. Klein, love A.J. Klein, have nothing bad to say about
Jordan Williams in there this year.
Right, but I just think as long as you have one of them, I feel like the linebacker core is still good. I mean, yeah, of course, losing Milano, it makes the linebacker room from great to just good.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they survived without him for what? After week 4?
Yeah.
And that was in London against your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, the London Jags.
And right, and ever since, I mean, yeah, there was that period of, trying to make sure it worked. But I mean, they got to a point where it was working fine, and then it just injuries started to pick up in the playoffs, and they couldn't do anything about it. I mean, are you really going to expect great things out of your linebackers when they're facing Patrick Mahomes and your starting linebackers are Dorian Williams and A.J. Klein?
Then they have to cover Travis Kelce.
And, yeah, I mean, that you have to spend time on Kelce. And Klein is not known for his coverage in any way, shape, or form.
Well, no, he's big and slow.
Right, and he's also, I mean, super old. I mean, not to say super old, but he's up there. At least in linebacker age.
I think that the winner of the AFC East this year, I think they're going to have 10 wins. I don't know who it's going to be, but I see a lot of splits happen in that division. I see a lot of I think the Dolphins probably are going to split with every team in the division. I think the Patriots probably I think the only team that they split with is probably the Dolphins. I think
that's an interesting thing.
I think
they always have their number.
That's true.
I think the Bills and the Jets are going to split. I think the Jets are going to split with everybody other than the Patriots. I think you guys are going to split with everybody other than the Patriots.
I mean, that's fair. I got
that puts us at 4 and 2 in the division. That's enough to win it.
I think 10 and 7 is probably going to win that division. Maybe 11 and 6, but I think 10 and 7 is probably going to win that division. I think the AFC is going to be rather weak this year. I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of the division winners are probably going to be around that 10 and 7, 11 and 6 mark. Whether it's the Jags or the Texans, whether it's the Bills or the Jets, probably. I really don't have any faith in Miami. I really do not like Tua. And then nobody in the AFC West is going to make it other than the Chiefs. Maybe the Chargers. Maybe.
Really? You're high up on the Chargers. I'm not at all.
I just think that if anybody can make that team work, it's Harbaugh. I really... Fair. I mean, Justin Herbert is already injured. He's already questionable for week 1. I think he's got like a hand or a wrist or something going on. I think the Raiders could be sneaky. The Broncos, they're going to suck. I love Bo Nix as much as the next guy, but the Broncos are awful. It could be 3 teams from the North actually make it. I didn't think it was going to be that, but I think 3 teams from the North could make it. I'm kind of questioning the Bengals. Kinda. But I think the Ravens make it easily. I think the Browns could make it if Deshaun Watson isn't Deshaun Watson anymore. If Deshaun Watson goes back to when he almost won MVP in COVID year, I don't think it's gonna happen, but maybe. I only say that because I see you doing your record predictions over there, Dan.
I am.
I think the Browns are going to be your biggest disappointment this year in the NFL.
I think we just expect that now.
If you got to pick a team.
I don't know how big of a disappointment you can be. I don't know how much expectation is on the Browns, just because we've seen Deshaun Watson play these last couple seasons.
How much?
And the brother just looks scared.
How much can you be a disappointment when Joe Flacco leads your team to the playoffs?
Yeah. Oh my God, Joe Flacco is that guy.
I mean, at that point, I think I would be prepared for anything. From seeing Deshaun play a couple of games, then go down, then go to PJ Walker, I believe it was.
No, it's Jabu now. It's J-Mo.
You're right, it's J-Mo now. I think before they tried him for a bit.
It was PJ Walker.
It was
Tyrod was there for a stint.
Tyrod was there.
Was
no,
Tyrod
that
there?
was
no, that was a while ago.
Oh, not last year. Kobe Brissett.
No, not last year.
No,
Oh,
I
was it
think
the year before?
That was the year before. It was
DTR was there.
DTR.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
Dorian
yes,
Thompson
DTR.
Robinson.
how much he
But-
sucked.
And then
Deshaun Watson's already dealing with an injury the preseason.
Right.
That's why he didn't play.
Is he really?
Yeah. Yeah,
His
it's
shoulder.
his shoulder
I'm
again.
telling you, man, his shoulder is really in a weird spot, and it's not allowing him to
I also just think
become the quarterback he was in 2019.
I think he just goes out there, and I think he's in his own head. He knows that everybody is going out, that every time he goes out there, everybody knows what he did, and he knows that everybody knows what he did, right? So he's just out there living in his own head, knowing that he's getting judged by everybody in the stadium. That's what I think.
You have no sympathy, Frank?
Absolutely not.
I have no sympathy for Deshaun Watson.
That's fair. I mean,
I wouldn't be shocked to see Cleveland take a quarterback
but I mean,
in this next draft.
and it's also funny to say because under 53, they kept 4 quarterbacks.
That